Greetings, everyone. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about witches and cats. I see there's nothing new there, is there? We always think of witches and cats as being associated with each other. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I have several thoughts on it. That's not exactly what we're going to be talking about today, though. All I do want to say on the subject, though, is I know lots and lots of witches, and most of them do have cats. And those of them who do not have cats are usually very fond of cats. They have a good relationship with cats. Now, that's not to say that we don't have other pets as well. I have, for instance, I have dogs and cats. I've always had dogs and cats. As a matter of fact, I had dogs since I was born, and cats just really since I've been married have I had cats. My mother wasn't too fond of them. I also have chickens. And I love my chickens. You know my chickens. We name our chickens. We don't eat them. So I really love animals of all kinds. But cats, as a witch, my cats hold a little bit of a special relationship with me. Okay. Currently, I have 3 cats. And they are black, 3 black cats. One of them is a short-haired, elderly gentleman cat who is very, very sweet and very good. And he has worked very hard over his years. I think he's probably close to 17. I think he is years old. He gets along with everybody. He tries to get along with everybody. He leaves people alone. If he doesn't really care for them, he just leaves them alone. He's just a really good all-round cat. But there's really nothing too special about him other than he's very loved. He's very loved by everybody. I have 2 younger cats who are twins. They are my fluffers. They're fluffy, big bushy tails, and they're black as well. They're twins, and they have a little bit of uniqueness about them. They are very connected with each other psychically, and they are very connected, I believe, with my husband and I psychically. We communicate very much without even having to speak. We can use hand motions with them. They respond, or just by looks they respond. They're very easy to read. They're easy to read if they're upset. They're easy to read if they're you know, in a loving mood or wanting attention. One of them is very vocal. They're also very interested in our magic, especially when we hold ritual in the house. They're very close at hand. They don't participate in ritual, but one of them has several times gone under our altar table, under the cloth under there, and camped out there during the ritual. And then the other one is very often high in the room with a good vantage of what we're doing in the room. They're curious. Where Goose, our elderly gentleman cat, and any cats we had in the past would usually take off and hide when people came into the house for any reason, a magical intention or not. Okay, so they have different kind of personalities. It's not to say I've always had black cats. I've had all different colors. In the years I've been married, I've had close to 20 cats. I think we counted maybe 18 or 19 cats, I believe, that we have had here for their entire lives. They lived their entire lives with us. We had some that came temporarily, like that belonged to our daughter when she was here, and then she took the cats with her when she left. Or we have raised some feral kittens. We had some cats in the yard that we raised. The one thing that is true about cats that is not as true about dogs or other pets is that cats will find you. Whether you want to be found or not, they will find you. They will select you and they will adopt you, whether you want to be adopted or not. You might not even have to let them in the house. They'll just stick around the outside, and you can do anything you can want to try to get rid of them. As a matter of fact, I mentioned my mother earlier in the video. My mother wasn't really fond of cats, and the neighbor cat kept coming over and leaving its mark on her front porch, which caused her a lot of grief and anguish, and she just kept scrubbing and scrubbing that porch to try to get rid of the odor. And all of a sudden, we went to visit her one time, and there was no odor in the porch, and she didn't mention it, and all at once, here comes the cat. And there's my father giving that cat a little pat. They made friends with the cat. That's all the cat wanted, just to be friends. And as a result, stopped leaving his mark on their porch. So they actually became quite fond of that cat. I do know another fact about cats that, other than they are different and they have different relationships with us, is cats have very unique stories that are associated with them. Stories that we might not have about dogs, for instance, because dogs are very dependent, I think, on the people that adopt them. If a dog is adopted by a very outgoing family, the dog tends to be outgoing. If the dog is adopted by a rather homebody person or person with a lot of mistrust or fear, the dog usually develops traits of a person that has mistrust or fear. The dog becomes a distrustful dog or a fearful dog. That's usually the case. Dogs echo a little bit about their personality, and some studies even say that people start to look like their dogs or their dogs start to look like them, or I'm not sure what that means. But it's kind of funny, and I've seen some different studies on that, and it's kind of true that people kind of sort of resemble their dogs, or maybe they're just attracted to dogs that kind of look like them, I don't know. But they have a very close relationship that way. Cats maintain their individuality whether or not you are around. They don't depend on you so much for their personality. They are very psychic, though, and they're very attuned to their environment. And you can see that they're very attentive. Even when they're asleep, you can see their little ears twitch, or their tail twitches, or their whiskers give a little twitch, or whatever. You can tell that they're paying attention to things that are going around them, even when they are asleep. Okay? So they're very psychic, and they're very relatable that way. And I think that's one of the reasons, as a witch, I am attracted to cats. I believe that the cats that I've had have helped me maybe even sharpen my own gifts of being an empath, my empathic gifts, even increase some of my psychic abilities that I didn't know that I had so much in the past. And now I find that I'm becoming a little more psychic as I get older. Is some of that rubbing off on me from my cats? I'm not sure. It's a very interesting subject. I'd like to study that sometime. Okay. But whatever. I have learned a lot from cats. They have a lot to teach us. But usually we have to spend a lot of time with them to learn those lessons, and not everybody has that chance. But I want to talk to you a little bit about today something that everybody has a chance to do, and that is to incorporate these cats and their psychic abilities and their empathic abilities and their intuition, their highly intuitive traits, into helping us with our divination. And today we're going to do that with tarot. Now, in order to do that, I want to share a deck I've shared with before, one of the decks. I'm going to be sharing two decks today. The one deck I want to share with you is the Cat's Eye Tarot. And here it is. These are the backs of the cards. I don't really have the box anymore, I don't think. I have them in a bag. And I have trimmed these cards. You know, I have trimmed them and altered them. You've seen me use these before, but we haven't talked about them using them in this way really quite before. Because what I want to talk to you about is this deck is a very unique deck. This deck is, first of all, it was created by a veterinarian who spent over 20 years exclusively in a practice with cats, exclusive cat veterinarian. So this veterinarian was very knowledgeable about cats, more so than many of us, right? Had experience with all kinds of cats for over 20 years in a professional way, and saw all kinds of not just illnesses and, the health determined with, no, she was not just concerned with the health of cats, you can tell. She was very in tune with the life of a cat. And that's what I like about this deck. And I've mentioned this deck to you before, is because the illustrations in these cards, they tell the tarot story through a cat's eye, hence the term. But what that means is they tell it through the lessons in a cat's life, the experiences that a cat has. And for us as readers, we can relate if we are close enough to understand cats. If we are knowledgeable with cats, we can use those lessons from a cat and better understand the tarot ourselves. Okay. So it's sort of, what is so cool about it is when the cat shows you, for instance, I'm gonna show you these cards. I'm going to do a reading with these cards in a minute. I'm also going to give you a quick flip through of the entire deck, a proper flip through, which I have never done in the past. But at the very end, if you want to see that, stay tuned to the very end. I know some people like to see that, and I have never shown that. That's not something I normally do. So I'm putting it at the end because that's not really the subject of the video today, but it's a courtesy, really, that I'm putting it there. But what I want to say is I want to talk about how if a cat has knowledge, psychic knowledge, or is really tuned in to the world around them and hence the world around us, and they can tell us, they can help us to interpret what is going on around us by showing us through their stories what is happening. It's a very strong divination tool. It's a very really good tool. I'm going to link a video up here of a video I did in the past where I used the Santa Muerte tarot deck to communicate with spirits, with ancestors, with those that have moved on. And we use the illustrations in the cards to help us do that, because the assumption was that whoever we were communicating with didn't read the tarot, weren't able to read the tarot and give us cards that way, but they were able to use the illustrations on the cards to get messages to us, okay? And that's a really interesting video. If you haven't seen it, I urge you to go watch it, okay? But today we're going to talk about how cats can help us by telling their story through their experiences, can help us with our own divination, can help us to understand the answers to the questions that we're seeking, okay? So that's one thing I'm going to be doing with this deck. But this video is not just about cats. It's about witches and cats. And I came across a very, very exciting deck, not new to everybody, but it was very new to me, that I want to share because we're going to pair these two decks together. The deck that I wish to pair with the Cat's Eye in order to get a good reading today for you is the Literary Witches Oracle deck, okay? Literary Witches. And this is a very interesting deck. It's new to me. It's not new, but it's new to me. I've only seen a few other people using it here on YouTube people that I watch. And what it is a deck, but it was based on a book that was written first called The Literary Witches, a celebration of magical women writers. Now, these were not self-proclaimed witches. Nobody's really saying technically they were witches, but what they are saying is these women were masterful in using their words. They were able to take words that we use every day. All of us have access to the same words. But they were able to take those words and create magic with them, to weave spells with their words. And these are very famous writers. We have, I think there are 30. There's 30 writers, and first of all in the deck, that they feature, okay? And these are people you've heard of. Most of these writers, you've heard of them, okay? Emily Bronte, you've heard of her. Emily Dickinson, Agatha Christie, my favorite writer of all times. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, is very, very famous. Anyway, and the idea is, in this book, first of all, in this book, it has a little bit of a profile of each one, okay? Here we have Shirley Jackson, and it gives a little bit of a biography about her, and it has a little bit about her. It calls her Witch of Villages, Domestic Horrors, and Omens, okay? To escape her demonic children, Shirley once had a long antagonistic argument with her hairdryer in the bathroom. 1. While still alive, Shirley transformed the stones neighbors threw at her into rabid cats, poison beetles, blood-tipped needles. She buried these treasures in the backyard. Years later, the treasures crawl back up through the soil. The neighborhood is plagued by pests and pins to this day. Shirley's ghost haunts the ice cream section of your 24-hour grocery store at 3 a.m., wearing cotton socks and noting human behavior on a little writing pad. She doesn't need help finding anything. Okay. And then it talks about a little bit about her. It's a little very short biography. Very interesting to read on its own. This book is a really fun book on its own. But what has happened is the person who wrote this then, after the fact, created a tarot, an oracle deck, literary, okay? And she has taken those same authors and she has put them in tarot, in oracle card, and I apologize because I've trimmed this deck too. I was a trimming fiend. She's made them into the 30 cards, the author cards. There's Emily Bronte. They're beautiful. They're beautiful illustrations. Okay, and so that's 30 of the cards. But then she took 40 cards and made 40 cards, which she called Witch's Material. The Witch's Material cards. And these are things, let me see what it says here and here. She calls these their witchy familiars. If these are the witches, the author cards are the witches, their materials are their familiars. Things that help them to create their magic. These cards offer their witchy, these cards as their witchy familiars give portals to guidance and medication in the cards, okay? So, it's kind of fun, and then she lists those in the back of this little book. And each of these has keywords. Where this has, there's a little bit written about it in the guidebook that goes with the deck. A little bit about the author, and then it tells some keywords. For instance, Virginia Woolf is vision. Virginia Woolf is vision. And let's see what it says about that card, if I can find it. It says, vision, keywords, developing a vision, innovation, or limitations are the keywords. And then it tells a little bit about her, okay? And then if you go to these cards, this is just, for instance, book, and with book, you will get these kind of, they read almost like the Norman cards, that they just have keywords to go with them. And this would be hope, revelation, or ignorance. Okay, so that's how we would use them in oracle reading, okay? So what I intended to do today was I wanted to take a reading and I wanted to combine the stories the cats have to tell me about my question. The cats are going to tell me using the cats will use their own psychicness and their creativity. The cats in the deck will use their psychic abilities and their knowledge and wisdom about the energies surrounding me, and give me a message. And then I'm going to include in that reading a message from one of these literary witches, one of these authors, these female authors, and let them tell me in their story, using their story style, a little twist on the, maybe a little bit of add that influence. Let them add their influence to the reading, and maybe using a few of their familiars, their materials. Okay, so I'm going to make a little layout, and I'm going to lay out some cards, and then we're going to see if we can figure out what we're going to, what they have to tell us. I've taken the liberty to already deal out my cards because I have an issue, you can probably tell, with my camera angle, that I want to make sure I get all the cards so that you can see them. I have very little wiggle room, so I wanted to get them laid out to see what would fit so I could adjust my camera. Hopefully that will improve in the future. But for right now, this is what we have, and I want to show you what I've done. These first cards here, if I put this way, you can probably tell better. And put that one on there. If you just ignore these, this is basically the beginning of a Celtic cross. I use this kind of a star, I call it a star reading, either 5 or 6 cards. laid out in this configuration. I use that a lot for a lot of different kinds of readings. Um, but in this case, I added this card, which we use in the Celtic Cross, which I have. This would be the focus card, and then this would be the something that's influencing, an influence, something that affects it in some way. It could, we call it, in the Celtic Cross card, we call it a card that crosses the focus card. It doesn't necessarily cross it. It could just explain it better, give a little more detail. But it is what part of the issue we're focusing in on in this reading, okay? And then I have a card above and a below, as above, so below. This could be, it could be something you know consciously, or something that you subconsciously, consciously, subconsciously. It could be something, this is like a higher influence. This could be something that, this is something that you know and something that you don't know, those kind of things. Depending on how you lay it out, you can call it any way you want. Then I have something from the past. I always have a past card here because this is something that will influence this reading in some way. And then I have a possible outcome card. Now, since I wanted to add the literary witch's viewpoint into this reading with the cat story, I wanted to include their story in with the cat story. I am pushing my future possible outcome card here into this position. And in here, I've laid my literary witch, her story, and then I have two of her material cards, or her tools, her tools, right? To what is she using here to give her 2 cents, so to speak, on this reading? Okay, so that's what we have sort of in front of you. Now, I don't want to go a long time into the reading. This is really just it's an example reading. It's nothing truly personal. I said when I was shuffling the cards, I was looking for energies that perhaps were surrounding me at this time in the middle of Lammas. I seem to have a lot of things going on in my life, and it's a busy time in the garden. It's a busy time in my life. I have so many things I want to do that I'm not getting to all the things. Things are happening. We have Mercury retrograde, I believe, right now, which is affecting, for me, perhaps some issues. I've got some communication issues, perhaps, in my astrological forecast right now. So, I'm sort of in a spinning period here. So I wanted to try to see what is going on, if I had any clues from the cats or any clues from the literary witches. So what I see here in the focus card is the 5 of Pentacles. And this card in the cat story, rather than our typical card that we see in the Rider-Waite of the poor people walking through the snow with the crutches in front of the church window, needing help but maybe not knowing there's help available to them, these cats are in an alleyway. It looks like they're in an alleyway. There's a dish here by the cats, so that they must have had some attention in the past. Somebody has fed them. They're still waiting maybe to be fed again. There's some kittens involved, so they're sort of hiding out here. And crossing that card, we have the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands, you know, there's this idea of wanting to go forward, wanting to maybe get into some new project or new idea, you know, to get it going, get, you know, this feeling of maybe a restless feeling, wanting to go away from where we are. So it kind of crosses here, if we want to say this is all about staying still, and this is all about wanting to go. But notice the Page of Wands, he doesn't really go anywhere yet. He's a page. He hasn't attempted to move forward yet. He's just has the idea in his head. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting combination. Okay, influencing from the past, we might also want to mention that we have the Queen of Cups. And this is interesting. When the Queen of Cups comes up in my reading, I pay a lot of attention to it, particular attention to it, because I am a triple Cancer. The moon is my sign. I'm a very watery sign to begin with. And the Queen of Cups is a very watery card. I want to point out, while I'm thinking of it, this is a good example. a good time to explain, I have two court cards in this reading, the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups. And that is the one shortcomings I found in this deck when I first started reading it. While the minors are beautifully illustrated, the majors are very clear. The cups, the court cards are the hardest to read because they're just cats. A lot of them are, let me see if I can see some pictures. There's a knight, there's a cat in a tree. What else do we have here? King of Wands, cat sleeping. You see Queen of Wands, a cat under a tree again. Here's a cat in the grass. You see they're not really doing anything. The court cards are kind of just standing around or sitting around or laying around or whatever. They are specific to a kind of cat. They will have all, for instance, the cups are all the tuxedos or the black and whites. We have the brown tabbies here and the pentacles always. Okay. So in the Siamese cats, in the swords, the talkative, chatty Siamese. So, other than that, though, we don't have a lot of clues. So I want to direct your attention to a video that I have made, which is reading the court cards, help with the court cards at long last, for getting help for the courts. And I have a really good video. It helps you to understand the court cards. If you have an issue, whether it's with this deck or any deck, you have issues with reading courts, please check out that video. I will give you a link. But I do want to say, we can very obviously, I think, realize that the Queen of Cups having to do with emotions, intuitions, feelings, whatever. The Queen is that, I want to say, this is the watery sign of water, is how I would describe it. It's the super emotional card. It's very super emotionally charged. So, this could be the past. Me being too emotional, getting caught up too much emotion in this, something that affects where I've come from the past. Okay, so that's all I will say about that. So we want to keep that in mind, that there's an emotional influence of some kind very strongly into this reading. Okay, and I think we can see these poor kitties in the alley. They're in the alley. They're kind of in the alley. They're not really going anywhere. They're just sitting there waiting. He's sitting there kind of waiting too. But they're conflicted. These people have needs that have to be met. Material needs that have to be met. They need to have food. They might need attention. They might need medical attention. Who knows? I don't even know if they have access to water in this alley. Page of Wands is so focused on just where he wants to go. He's not really paying attention. So we kind of see a conflict in there. A little bit of a conflict. Okay. As above, we have the Seven of Swords. And this is one of the wonderful things I love about this deck, because it's very straightforward. It tells you very interesting. I hope you can see the card. I can pick it up and show it a little closer. This is a cat, a very naughty kitty, doing something that cats do, that he's quite naughty. And if you've had a cat ever, you have had this experience, I'm sure, at one time or another. This is a cat marking. This is a cat spraying. He's spraying urine on the wall. Very appropriate for the Seven of Swords, because the Seven of Swords, we know in the RWS decks, this is somebody trying to get away with something, sneaking off. The man sneaking off with his bundle of swords. He's looking back to see if anybody notices what he's doing. It could be, it's whatever. There's some kind of a problem with the behavior. And when cats mark like this, they're not really trying to get away with something, because if you've ever had a cat that did spray, you know that this smell, you can't hide it. It's something that can be hidden. But it is a call for help. It is a way of getting attention. Maybe nobody has given this attention that is needed here, and this is like a cry for help. This is a cry for help. Please help me. So here we have a cry for help with the Five of Pentacles, and here we have a very severe cry for help with the Seven of Swords. Underlying it all, though, we have the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups is the cat lady with her cats coming to visit, and the cats loving on her, and that beautiful relationships that many of us have with our cats, that connection that we have with our cats. So there is help available, there is companionship available, there is love available, attention available, but maybe this is saying, We're not going to maybe find it sitting in the alley. We're maybe not going to waiting for it to come to us. We're maybe not going to find us planted here under this tree waiting for it to happen. We need to venture forward. I would say that's maybe what the message here is. We need to take care of our needs ourselves. We need to go out. We can solicit help from others, but we need to move from where we are in order to get the help we need. Now, Octavia Butler is the literary witch that came up for me in the reading. And I love this because Octavia Butler, let me look in the book. This is new to me, remember again. Deck, I want to look what it says about Octavia Butler. It's the future card, and we can see the future on there. She was the daughter of a housekeeper and a shoe shiner. She was a pioneer in the very white and male-dominated genre of science fiction. She received a MacArthur Fellowship for her dark, philosophical novels and stories, which feature black female protagonists and explore power dynamics among sexes, race, and species. So she was very much somebody who just went out and did. She did not sit around and wait for things to happen. She changed her future, didn't she? She went out and got what she wanted. And her keywords here are imagining, planning, worrying about the future. Well, we can see here's a lot of imagining. Here's worry. Here's some planning, but not moving forward. She is saying the same thing. What can you imagine? And then go for it. She didn't wait. She succeeded and pioneered a woman of color entering a previously male-dominated genre of science fiction, a previous very white-dominated genre of science fiction, and she went for it. So that's really a cool thing. I like that card a lot. As her tools, she used the mushrooms and the eye. We see here the mushroom is about quiet growth, or the hidden, what is hidden, and peace. So we could say quietly moving forward, quietly going forward. And what does that mean? Find the eye first, because we want to use this like a Lenormand and see if we can read them together a little better. Thank goodness they're in alphabetical order. The eye, seeking your answers, seeing clearly, and paying attention. So this is about paying attention, really paying attention. Attention can't be paid hidden in an alley and waiting. It can't be paid here just focusing on something you want. This kitty needs to focus on how to attain what he wants, right? So I'm planning, careful planning, and looking for ways for her to break through, probably what she did. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So the answers are there for me. If I have a problem here with going on, all this stuff happening, I don't have to sit and have somebody help me. I can go my own way. Of course, there's help for me if I need it right here. This shows there's help for me. I need to separate my emotion a little bit from it and look towards, look for things that I really look for, the answers that are not just what I'm feeling, nothing about what I'm feeling. Okay. My ultimate possible outcome card here, F Temperance. I love it in this deck because in this deck, let me see what it says in this deck for Temperance. They're perched, before I'm looking, they're perched there on the out. I don't know if you can, I hope you can see. These two kitties, black and white, looks like yin and yang, right? Up on the, yin and yang, up on this balcony rail above the water. They're very balanced. We see the black and the white balancing, which is very, I love that coming after the Octavia Butler card. That's really cool. She was equalizing the field a bit for herself and for others to come. She was the first steps in equalizing that genre, that field for other women of color. Women, not just women of color, but women of all kinds and colors, people of color of all sexes, whatever. So trying to equalize the field there. Here we have them, but in order for them to be safe and in balance, to stay on this, I'm not sure what it says here, I can't find it right now. we need to make sure that we keep in balance. And oh my goodness, I love that card, because don't you know that I'm all about balance. I say that all the time about I need to get myself into balance. And this, we're coming up into May 1, and this is the time of the year that I work really, really hard before the dark sets in, the dark times start to set in, to really make sure I enter that time in balance, well in balance. So, not go too far here with the emotions, but to really keep myself in balance and keep my, keep paying attention to what's around me, paying attention to what I need, getting the help I need when I need it, but, not keeping it into myself, not keeping the worry or these feelings of overwhelm or whatever into me. Get rid of what I don't need. Just get rid of what I don't need and focus on what I do need that's going to take me where I want to go. Worry about those things. Don't worry about what I can't change. Well, so that's kind of an interesting experiment with these two cards. I like them working together. I think I'm going to try it again. Probably I've kind of dedicated myself to using this cat tarot at least up until our election here in November. We're going to see what happens. Right now I'm very much comfortable with my cat cards, so I think I'm going to do a little bit more of experimenting over the next few weeks with these two decks together and see how I like it. So that was real fun. Okay, now I have to turn off my camera, and I'm going to have to order my cards so that I can give you what I promised, a quick walkthrough, so that you can see all the cards, because these are really lovely, very lovely cards. I cannot recommend this deck highly enough. Okay, I hope you can see. I'm going to try not to linger too long on each card. I'm not used to doing this, and I love to talk. I'll try. But I want to show you, and I want to remind you, these cards have been trimmed. I love them trimmed. They're smaller. I like them trimmed because they show better on my limited space here for my camera. But I really think the images really pop when you trim them. But they're lovely how they come. Anyway, we start out on instead of the Fool's Journey, it is the Fool's Journey, but according to a cat. And here we have a lovely kitty trying to bat at something up in the tree. Here we have the Magician, who has his tools in front of him. He has everything he needs. And the unique thing about the cat is he is at home equally in the wild as he is inside the home, as domestic or as wild. He still has his tools he needs. He still has his instinct he needs, his psychic abilities. Wherever he is in his full cups, in his full power, so to speak. Okay. The High Priestess, her connection to the moon. You can see that in the card. It's lovely. The Empress, we can see that female energy, that mother energy, nurturing female energy with her kittens. There, we can see that very clearly. And I like that about this deck because that's so clear. And here we have the Emperor as a gentle but stern, father image. We see the Emperor sometimes as somebody who is using their power as, we see them as a king or as almost like a soldier kind of a persona. Here we see it as a father cat who's going to gently instruct the young in the way that they should behave, etc. So I love that makes it very clear the Empress and the Emperor energy. It's clear in this deck than in his most other RWS style decks. So I like that a whole lot about this deck. Here we have again the Hierophant as well. A little bit different. We don't have the Pope card that we don't like. Some of us don't like that Pope card. It seems too stifling in a way for me. Here I had very much a solitary creature, but is does have contact and communication with other cats. They do live not always alone. They fit in very well with other cats normally, but there is a hierarchy among them as a group. If you have more than one cat in the home, you know what I mean. I usually averaged about 6 cats in my house at a time over the years, and when we gained a cat or we lost a cat, the whole hierarchy changed. You saw the power. It was like a little power shift within who was in charge, who decided who got to sit on where part of the bed or etc. Who eats first? Who, those kind of things. Um, who took the time to discipline the young if they needed disciplining. So we do see that hierarchy, but it is cat behavior. It is about what is common, what is good for the group, what is recognizable by the group, not something that is imposed on them from the outside, which sometimes we think of the Pope card as something that has been imposed upon us, particularly like our rules and things from childhood or in our community or whatever, that sometimes we want to fight against. In this deck, it's a little kinder, a little easier to relate to, I think, sometimes. The lovers, I love this. We can see the lovers very clearly, but in here we can see the choice, because here we have the male cat very much devoted to the female, but looking outside, making the choice whether to stay or whether to go and join his friends outside. There's another male cat out here cat out here on the wall, very much tempted to go. A choice has to be made, so we can see that choice very clearly. Here we have the Chariot card, and we see the power, the strength, the skill that is required for a cat to be able to maneuver and get what they want and go along. Here's up on a tree to be able to go forward and safely and get what they're after. It takes some skill and it takes some ability. Here we have the Strength card, and this is beautiful. It's a very, very big dog and a very, very little cat. And, the dog can hurt the cat easily. The cat can also hurt the dog. But they choose. It's that patience. It's waiting and patience. Let me see what it says here in the book. In a reading, a take charge, aggressive attitude is not called for. Compassion and patience are more effective than achieving what you want. Okay. By not overreacting, we can often achieve through passivity that which would not be possible through confrontation. So I really like that. That's a really good way to read the Strength card. I like. The Hermit card. He's not completely alone. He's alone as he chooses to be. He's away from civilization if he wishes to, back here in the alley again. But we see a light on here at the door. This is probably a door coming out from a restaurant or something. We see that image a lot. Cats hanging around. Somebody's probably going to come out and join him if he wishes it. So it's people there when he needs to be, when he wants them, and when he doesn't want them, he can be alone and he can be very comfortable. Wheel of Fortune, we have the chance that things happen, We have cats, we have prey, the birds are prey of the cat, the mice are prey of the cat. We see them. The mice are attracted to the grain, and some of it's going on the ground, which attracts the mice, and, anything can happen. The cats can go after the mice, the birds can get away, the cats can go after the birds, the mice can get away. They're dependent on each other, and they're independent from each other. Some stuff happens. Things change at an instant. Justice. Justice is all about you being responsible for your own situation, okay? We see this all the time in cats. If you have cats, you open a door. Cats cannot stand to have a door closed. They always want to be on the other side of a door. I had cats years ago that went in and out the house. We lived in the woods, so they were in a rural country place, and they would go in and out of the house during the day, and if they were outside, they wanted in. If they were inside, they wanted out. It was a constant struggle. Even cats now, if you close the door in the house, they want on the other side of the door. You open the door, and they'll stand there. They don't come in. They don't come in, right? They make the decision. They are completely in charge of that. Deciding what they're going to do. It is completely their decision, and that's what this is about. The Hanged Kitty. He's not really sacrificing anything. We see the sacrifice of the Hanged Man in the RWS version. Here we don't see that so much as a sacrifice, but we see that he's completely at ease. He's just hanging out there, making a decision what he wants to do. I'm not sure. But one thing that is very much we see in the RWS, we see it. Sometimes we read the card as looking at things from a different angle. Here we see that very much so. Perhaps he's looking at things from a different angle. Hanging out, giving something a thought, giving a different perspective to something. Here we have the death card, and this I love because this is not a death that we would associate with something completely ending forever, but it's ending for now. It's his adventures outside are over. At least for a while, because it's frigid, it's icy, it's cold, it's wet. It's not where a cat wants to be. He's going to stay inside for a while. And he's looking out the window, and he's maybe wishing it were not so, but this is the way it is. But it doesn't mean that spring's not going to come again, and he's going to get to go back out and enjoy his whatever he was enjoying in the first place. So it's the end of something, but it's something new beginning. This case it's going to begin again. It's just cyclical nature, the cyclical nature of nature in his case. Temperance we did in the reading, that balance. Here's the devil card, you know, the addiction card, the card very much he's in the laundry room situation with his food, a big fat kitty who loves his food, but what is the cost? He doesn't want to leave his dishes, so he's really shut off from everything. He's really sacrificing the rest of his life, just really sitting here looking at a block wall in the basement, not wanting to walk away from the dish. Tower, one of my favorite tower cards of all times. You know, I don't like the tower card too much, but I've really gotten to know it very well. And I want to say this tower card, I love it because, you know, I always concern myself with what's happening. I like tower cards where we don't see if they land on their head. I don't like them when they're laying on their head and they're all dead. I don't like them. I don't know what's going to happen to them when they fall. We never know what's going to happen when we have a tower incident happen in our life. But in this case, the kitty is prepared to land on his feet. Kitties, and in this case probably a she because it's a calico, so we want to say probably on her feet. We seem to have a feeling that cats will always land on their feet. I don't think that's really the truth, but a lot of times they do. Most times they do, I think. And in this case, whether he lands on his feet or not, he or she lands on his feet or not, they're prepared to land on their feet. They're in the position to land on their feet. So that's what's important when the tower goes. They're ready to land. So being prepared for times when you know it's going to come down. It's not going to last forever. I love the star card here. We don't see a giant star that we see like in the RWS, but here we see the star in the reflection in the pool, and the kitty is actually reaching for that star, reaching down for the star with his little paw. In the Rider-Waite version, the star is behind the person. He's not reaching for it, and I really like this idea. The moon card, this is a lovely moon card. We see the beautiful moon in the background. A cat's capable. A cat's very capable. He sees pretty well in the dark, probably better than we do. But, you know, there's some things we can't see everything. Some things might be dangerous and some things might not. We see a lot of spiders in this picture. I don't know. I know spiders can be dangerous. Some spiders can be dangerous to cats. We lost a little kitty, a little feral kitty once from a spider. But, so it's, you know, that same feeling that goes with the moon card in the normal configuration that we see it, but here we can see it through the eyes of a cat, which I think is really, really nice. Okay. The sun card, the beautiful sun card, no naked baby, just a beautiful kitty in the sunshine. And the judgment card, sitting high above and looking down below them, sitting high above with the gargoyles up along the parapets. And it's getting up above the situation, that perspective, and looking down and judging what you have done, judging for yourself. What have you learned? What have you achieved? You know, what along your journey. We're almost at the end of the fool's journey here, so we're the same message. What have you achieved? Looking for yourself, not listening to the angels, you know, the trumpeting angels in the sky, but looking at yourself, what you have accomplished. And then we see the world card, ready to start again. And I love that we have all the elements represented here by the prey of the kitty, the fish, the bird, the snake, the reptile, and the mouse. Okay, and we see this the cyclical symbol here for the cycle going to begin again. Okay, I'm going a little slow. I want to go a little faster now. Swords, Ace of Swords. Is he concerned with the bird or is he concerned with the feather? That's nice. And the Two of Swords. Not very happy cats. Some kind of argument going on with the cats. This is one of my favorite cards, and I've showed this before several times. Three of Swords, that heartbreak, that loss. In this case, it's a sea resort cottage or something, at the cottage at the beach in the middle of winter, and the people who, the vacationers, are gone. And here's the little dish. The paw prints for the kitties in the snow. The kitty has come, obviously was fed in the summer by the people there for vacation, or give them companionship, and they're gone, and dish is empty, and it's just a sad little paw prints in the snow. it's a very sad little card, but you can really feel the plight of the kitty in that one. Okay, Four of Swords. Here we have Five of Swords. I'm trying to go a little faster with these. Five of Swords, this angry cat, but it obviously doesn't feel good. He's lashing out. He's sad, and he's lashing out. He's ready for a fight because he doesn't feel good. He's at the vet. We can understand the feeling of the cat there. Here's the Six of Swords. He's not even going to come out of the crate. He doesn't trust to come out of that crate, right? We did the Seven of Swords in my reading. Eight of Swords. A baby gate has gone up. Here's a little pacifier. I don't know if you can see that on the floor here. That kitty could go over the baby gate, no big deal, but he's like, what's going on? What am I supposed to be doing here? There's this confusion. Things are not the way they always are, and there's sort of he has got to pause here, like what's happening here? It's his world is shaken up a bit by change, and we can see symbolized. We have that darkness of the room beyond the baby gate. Nine of Swords. Kitty's scared, won't come out from under the bed. If you've had a cat, you've all had that. There are cats. I had a cat that lived pretty much her entire life under a bed. I mean, she came out for my daughters, one of my daughters or two of them, but any time any was in the house, including my husband, she was nowhere to be seen. She was under that bed. Ten of Swords, this feeling of, very bad situation. These kitties are in a very bad situation. They're neglected in a really big way, but they're still looking towards the window. Here's one looking up towards the window, hoping for somebody to come. So there's still that element of hoping that somebody's going to come and feed them, take care of them, give them what they need, let them out of that stinky house, change their box. I don't know, it's a mess. And then we come to the courts. Here's the page on a fence. Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, and King of Swords. You see what I mean about the court cards? We need to see my video, Mastering the Court Cards, maybe to see clearly, to understand them clearly if you don't understand the court cards. Ace of Wands. Again, I'm trying to go fast. Two of Wands. Three of Wands. Time to venture out. The mother cat is taking the kittens out, letting them go out and explore the world. Finally, they're old enough that they can go out and do a little bit of exploring. Four of Wands. Five of Wands. You remember we don't have the young men playing with their wands, learning how to do the fight, learning, challenging each other, practicing for that. Here, they're, kittens learn from each other how to hunt, how to attack and pounce, and all those fun things that cats do. They learn as kittens from each other. Six of Wands. Seven of Wands. We have a confrontation here between a cat and a very, very big dog. Cat and a very, very big dog. Cat's going to hold his ground. Whatever comes out that cat, he's ready. He's more than ready. Eight of Wands. Oh, I love this. Instead of the wands speeding through sky, you know, they're all moving very fast. We know there's speed, we know there's direction, we know there's movement. But here we see the urgency behind the movement, because here we see, so this would be really the timing. It's a mother cat who is obviously rescuing her kittens from a burning building. So we can feel that sense of urgency. There's no time to stop and wait, think about it. It's time to act. And that's what the card says very clearly in this Cat's Eye Tarot. 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands. Be careful what you got. He caught a snake, and now he's got the problem of what he is going to do with this snake. And here we go back into the court cards. Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, and King of Wands. Again, if you want to crack the code, check out my video. Okay, here we have the cups. Now we're into the cup energy, and here we have the water. We have the fishes represented in here. There's the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups. We did the Three of Cups already in my reading, and Four of Cups, Five of Cups. Oh, here we go. Here's a little, the cat. Here's a cat, and I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it's a little girl carrying her little little cage of the kittens, carrying the kittens away. It's time the kittens leave home, and the mother cat is watching them go, and it's a sense of sadness. There's sadness, but you know, cats don't keep their children with them all their lives normally. I mean, we've raised a litter of kittens here, but not with the mother. They normally do separate, but it's still that initial feeling at the beginning when it's like when the cat is separated from the kittens is, sad. It's sad. We did have a cat, though, bring us her kittens and give them to us in a very poignant way. I have a story about that on my blog. If you're interested, I'd be happy to share that here. Six of Cups, Seven of Cups. The choices that we are made. We think we want things in the Seven of Cups in the RWS version. This kitty is very interested in what's going on in the aquarium, but he cannot have access to any of these things. They're behind glass. They're not available to him, but he's not giving up being interested in them. He still has them in front of him, and he still thinks he wants them. Eight of Cups, this moving away, thinking he's going to move away anyway, because obviously from home, because here we have his little boy now has a puppy. So somebody is maybe taking the place that he feels that somebody is taking his place in this house, and maybe he's ready to move on because of it. I hope not, but we'll see. Nine of Cups. What does a cat want? Anything more than their food. I mean, cats love their food. They really love their food. They act like they have never been fed. They scream. That can opener goes, and they act like they haven't been fed in weeks. 10 of Cups, the greatest love here, contentment. A little purring kitty held in your arms, laying there, purring away. That's the feeling we love if we have cats. That's what we love to have, that relationship there. And here we go again with the quartz. Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, Queen and King of Cups. And you can see a difference in the age, so you get a timing on the court cards, but you don't get a whole lot else. And finally we have Pentacles. Okay? The kitty catching a mouse, trying to catch a mouse. And here the kitty has a choice between a mouse and a toy mouse. He's just as enamored with the toy of a mouse on a string than he might be in with a real mouse that's in the grass. Three of Pentacles. This is three cats, three barn cats working together to raise the young kittens. Working together. Here somebody's bringing food, and here somebody else is taking care of the kittens, and here somebody else taking care of the mother that's taking care of the kittens. So that's that team of working together. Four of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles we saw in my reading. Six of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go out that door? Should I come in where it's warm or should I go out and have some more adventures? 8 of Pentacles, 9, 10, and then we have the courts, the page, the knight, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Okay, there you go. If you're interested in finding this deck, if you have trouble finding it, I will give you a link below to where you can get this deck. It's very inexpensive, and if you have cats, I really recommend you get this deck. If you like decks that have cats in it, this is probably one of the best ones I've seen. It doesn't just have cats, it has cats telling you their story. And in this case, they were telling us the story along with our literary witches. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.